entertainment. I want you to hit that like button, sub to the channel if you're not a member, and also hit the notifications so that you're able to get all of my content as well as all of my videos. Salute to the entire LDBC, basketball and boxing, and salute to all the people that rock with me. Um, First off, let me give a shout out to the brother Too Raw for TV. He's the first one that I've seen talking about this. Um, if you're not sub to Too Raw for TV, definitely go sub to his channel. Um, Now, Delonte West, former NBA player who played for a few teams, particularly particularly he's known for his tenure with the Cleveland Cavaliers and the Boston Celtics as well. Uh, he had got arrested in Virginia. He was picked up in Fairfax County, where he was found unconscious. And when they found him, he was alive, he was breathing, however, he was drunk. Salute to you, Brown Sugar. I see you in the building. Um, Now, they're saying that, he was extremely intoxicated, and I'm going to have the link to the article in the description so that you could take a look at this for yourself. Um, but I wanted to talk about it, express my thoughts for the situation. And Delonte Westman has, without a doubt, had a checkered past, to say the least. However, he was able to be offered help. You know, it seemed like he was on the up and up for a while. Most notably, I remember when Mark Cuban had tried to give him an opportunity, to revamp, his life and everything, and sort of bounce back and everything. However, that just didn't happen. Um, Look, man, as bad as people want me to come on here and probably clown him and down him and talk trash about him and stuff like that, I'm not going to do that. You know what I'm saying? Instead, all of us need to take this as a learning uh, experience, man, and also see what can happen if you don't accept help and if you don't talk to somebody. Delonte West is human just like anybody else. You know what I'm saying? I know people gonna want me to come on here and talk about how Delonte West was messing around with LeBron's mom, all this other stuff. He's on drugs and he's an addict and stuff like that. But Delonte West is no different from anybody else. He has flaws just like anybody else. It's just that. Triplex. It's just that. It's just sunny. It's just that. Highs in the lower. Some of y'all want to excuse the fact that he is, you know, not perfect. You know what I'm saying? He has flaws just like anybody else. Delonte West, like I said, man, he's no different from anybody else. Now, could he have made better choices in life? Absolutely. You know, but the unfortunate thing is that he didn't. I would really like him to get some help. I know people in the past that have been in situations like this, and being on different addictions, it's not easy, man, to crawl out of that hole that you're in. And I just hope that he gets some help. Uh, and this is another thing too. I feel like there should be more NBA players to try to reach out and try to help him than what there already is. I mean, the NBA is supposed to be, this quote unquote fraternity, of brothers, and it's like it feels like when when a guy falls down and he's going through a rough time. It's like nobody's there to pick him up. Now, I'm not sitting here trying to say that nobody has probably offered and extended their hands for help. Maybe he probably burnt that bridge. He may have burnt that bridge. We don't know. You know what I'm saying? But whatever he did and whatever bridge that he burnt, hey, I sincerely hope that he's able to turn that around. Now, the worst thing that you want to do is give up on a person. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people, they give, their family members or friends that they may know a cold shoulder and then eventually turn their back on them. And then next thing you know, it takes a turn for the worse, such as the situation that just recently happened with Marshawn Nealon. You know, he probably just needed someone to talk to. Sometimes it's not all about, giving that person money or giving that person food or giving that person material things. Sometimes that person just needs dialogue with somebody that understands them, because they may feel misunderstood. It may be as simple as that. But whatever the case is with Delonte, like I said, I hope that he gets the help that he needs. Um, Whenever they see Delonte West though on social media, IG, whatever it is, TikTok, whatever it is, people use that to go in and talk about stuff that really don't need to be talked about. Talk about. Uh, I've delved into this situation in the past, and it's really a subject that I don't really like talking about. And everybody knows the obvious situation that I'm talking about, and I'm not going to repeat it again. I've said it once already, but that's not a situation that anybody should be bringing up as it pertains to this guy's health and his mental health. And if that guy ends up, doing the worst, like what a case where Marshawn Nealon did, then everybody's gonna be like R.I.P. and they're gonna say all this stuff and be all fake about it and stuff like that. No, keep the same energy because the same guys that were sitting on there trying to trash him on social media, trying to tell him, that he's this and he's that and he's a team wrecker and all this other stuff or whatever. No, keep that same energy as you would if he was alive. But don't try to come and say, "Oh yeah, he was a great basketball when he played at St. Joseph," or "He was a great basketball player when he played with the Celtics or with the Cavs," or something like that. No, it doesn't work that way. Look, man, this guy got flaws, okay, and many of you have flaws. The only thing is that y'all are not sitting up here and you're not in the public eye like that. Some of y'all have. Some of y'all are worse than Delonte West. Just to be honest with you, So I'm not gonna get on here and talk down on Delonte West. As a matter of fact, a brother in the LDBC by the name of LVZ. I'm pretty sure y'all know that LVZ NBA. No buck dancing allowed. Salute to him. Go sub to his channel. He actually saw Delonte West and, had the pleasure of seeing him. And it was all love then and kept it real and kept it genuine. And I remember seeing that. And see, it's people like that that could have just went out there and tried to poke fun of him like that one time when he had got in the car with these people here while he was in Texas or whatever, in Dallas, and they were doing all this other stuff, but they were trying to do it for clout. They were trying to say, "Hey, oh yeah, we smoking weed with Delonte West and all this other stuff, man." It might have been kind of comical and funny and everything like that, but me, I didn't really see that as funny. You know what I'm saying? Because this guy is really struggling and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? But hey, that's some people. They want to try to capitalize off of what they can capitalize on. But like I said, man, I hope he gets the help that he needs. Hope he gets, the. I hope he bounces back. I hope that nothing takes a turn for the worse, because we don't need to be losing anybody like, in this situation like this anymore. You know what I'm saying? And I just hate the fact that, at one time he was doing something positive and he was doing something productive and everything in his life and everything, and then he fell from grace or whatnot. And to some people's standards, maybe he wasn't, a superstar player and all that other stuff or whatever. But he made it. He made it to the league. He did something that very few people in this country, and yet alone in this world, are able to do, and that's touch the hardwood of a professional floor. Yet alone the top professional league who people consider in the NBA. You know what I'm saying? So, like I said, man, if people are trying to, you know, get me to get on here and talk shit about this dude and talk down and say how disgusted they are of him, or say how disgusted I am of him and stuff like that, I'm not gonna do that. You know, I know people that have been in this situation. People that have been homeless, people that have been struggling. You know what I'm saying, with addiction. You know what I'm saying? Know it now. You know what I'm saying? But I don't sit up there, man, and talk down, because it could happen to anybody. A tumultuous situation could happen to a person, and the next thing you know, they hit rock bottom. And the last thing you want to do is talk down on that person. So, like I said, man, like, share, subscribe, hit them notifications too. Uh, Shouts out to the whole entire LDBC, basketball and boxing. Till then, man, I'm gone.